So if you grew up in the 80s, I'm about to make you feel old, sorry. Now I'm filming this in October 2023. The original Tamiya Hornet was released in October 1984. That's 39 years ago. Unless you've been living under a rock in the world of RC, you'd be aware that Tamiya's been re-releasing their models for quite some time now. To coincide with the Hornet's 20th anniversary, Tamiya re-released the Hornet. This is usually a black thing, but I've painted mine white because I wanted to. I'm not a purist with regards to restoring these things. But what's going to make you feel old is that this re-release was released 19 years ago. So the original is 39 years old and this thing's 19 years old. So they're both coming up for a big birthday next year. I hope you stick around with me because I want to show you a little bit of what things used to be like. I'll tell you a bit of a story and we're going to discuss where we've been and where we're going. You know, a buggy's from the 80s, if it's got these big heavy pin tires and often there's a round profile to them. My friend Berkey gave me this. I had something like it as well. Single stiff suspension, nothing independent. Open diff in the rear though. If you were lucky, you'd have suspension in the front. This is a late 80s example, and in 1989 I got a Tandy Red Arrow buggy, and that was a 110 scale. Not entirely different to this, honestly. It had skinny little wheels in the front, a massive front bumper, front suspension, which was better than this, which is very much toy grade. But it also had the motor housing and the gearbox in the rear, and a single spring. But I got a lot of enjoyment out of that thing. And that was Australian $150 or so, which in today's money was $388. So that's with that inflation taken into account. Now that kind of money is still less than what you need to buy a Bandit, which is an example of a modern but basic piece of engineering in RC today. Its biggest difference to this old stuff is that you have those independent rear arms, both being 110. The Hornet is still smaller, but not by a heck of a lot. We'll pump this around on the grass. I'll also play some of the Bandit so you can see what it's like. They'll both be on 2S, and you'll just see the difference in how it handles. Watch how bouncy this is. Watch how it corners almost as well as the Bandit, but not quite as well. Let's take a look at that. I think the biggest difference is that this thing's a little bit bouncier in the rear because you've got that motor and the gearbox suspended on the rear, and you've got nice big oil-filled shocks, and they are oil-filled, and it is independent to some extent. There's also a secondary spring in the front that lets this thing pivot, which is unlike other buggies like this. It's not terrible. I think it would benefit from probably heavier damping, and I might have a play with that. But it doesn't drive too badly. Now they're just friction shocks in the front, and you can limit these as well, and you can drop it down. You can put like a spacer up at the top there so it doesn't drop as far as it otherwise might. But this is otherwise a fairly complete little machine. Two things to note while we're talking about it. I've got paddle tires that came with my Bezgar HP 161S. We looked at that not too long ago. You can buy these separately on Amazon for, I don't know, 15, 20 bucks. I'll put the link in the description. Interestingly, they're the same size as the Hornet tires, both in width and diameter, very close to being the same size. So if you wanted paddle tires on a little buggy like this, these little 1/16 scale modern things go beautifully on an old buggy. Now the 114, the Rlaarlo truggy tires are very slightly wider. Oh, they're about the same actually. Very similar to the pedal tires from Bezgar. So there are other tire patterns available if you want to buy and build one of these for fun. The price difference between a modern but basic brushed buggy and the Tamiya Hornet is still considerable, and it's enough that if you want a new cheap fun machine, this isn't a terrible option. I'm not joking. I've driven this a little bit. Yeah, look, it bounces around a bit, but it is fun. And with these other tire options, you actually have a legitimately fun car. I got this for $128 or so, brand new, in box, ready to build. So I got the kit building experience, which I quite enjoyed. There's a servo in here that I had to add, so that's another $15. There's an ESC. I actually used one out of one of my elements because it's just a good basic, like the WP1060 is fine. So it's another $20 ESC and just a El Cheapo receiver. I actually used an all-in-one, it's a $20 3-channel radio you can buy from Ali or Amazon. That's absolutely perfect for this. So all up, under $200, and you get the kit building experience, which for me is a plus. And you get a machine, like maybe 20 bucks in paint as well, because I think I just stuck with the one color. But I put yellow underneath it. So there you go. For Australian $200, there's a fully working machine. You stick whatever battery you like in there. Battery cover comes off on the bottom. You can't fit a full-size modern brick, but you can fit a 6-cell nickel metal hydride. I've got a 2800 milliamp hour LiPo that fits with ample space to spare. So there's actually quite a lot more space. You'd fit like a 3300 2S, as long as it's not a hard case, in here. This has got to be one of the best-selling RC cars from the 80s and 90s. This, along with the Grasshopper, really kicked off the, or helped kick off the RC craze that kind of reached its peak in the late 80s, early 90s. But it used to be that if you bought a hobby-grade car, you'd still get hobby-grade plastic. And this is in the 80s where we were getting good at it, but still had a long way to go. Polycarbonate with a styrene little driver inside that you can paint. I forgot to mask my windows when I painted this, so I actually cut them out and I 3D printed. I made my own design, made my own webbing for the window. I can share the design if you like. I'll stick it on RC-TNT.com. I'll link that in the description as well. Here, let me show you inside, because it's an interesting little car. Now, I mentioned I had a Tandy red arrow. The spoiler used to come off on that. It just gets snapped because it was all hard plastic, because it was ready to run. This being polycarbonate is likely to be a bit more durable because you've got a bit more flex, it'll take it. I've still reinforced it a little bit, but not much. But this is the body. Now we've got a couple of screws here holding in the lights. I kind of went off script with the painting because this is supposed to be black and I've gone white with a yellow under, and I think it came out all right. I was pretty lazy with the driver, but I mean, I still think he looks okay. It's good enough. The decal or decals you get with it, they apply just like any other Tamiya ones. They're very sticky once they go on, but they still let you peel it off and they don't punish you by ripping. You can have a couple of goes at it if you need. It's actually quite a small body shell, but it's very nice, and I'm actually very happy with the webbing because these usually have a clear window if you've masked it. I actually like it like this. Now underneath we've got what makes up this buggy, which is not much. It's a tub chassis. Servo sits kind of high and there's a servo saver. Any standard basic ESC will work. The battery compartment won't fit a full-size modern brick, but it's also thankfully underneath where you want your heaviest component to be. Your A-arms up front are nice and skinny. The front end's going to be light, and that's okay. You've got impact bars on the side that are a really nice rubbery plastic. They've got less fiber in them. The bumper's also the same kind of thing, and it doesn't quite protect the front wheels completely, but it kind of does. And it does bend in nicely enough. You'd snap it if you hit something hard enough. This is a much more reinforced piece than what you used to get. So you've got nice reinforcement in the design. This is less likely to split, and then you'll do your gearbox. So It's actually a pretty good re-release in my opinion.
Now this wouldn't be a proper tribute to one of the most popular backyard races of all time, unless we got it a bit wet, because what kid didn't love splashing in puddles?
Given that this has that big 540, the speed is actually there, the gearing's right for this voltage, and you get actually quite a bit of go on it. Its biggest weakness is that it bounces around so badly that it even caused it to flip near the end there. And these very 80s style, oh boy, these very 80s style pins, which are almost horizontal on the edge of the tire, they kind of grab. So when you're kind of drifting around sideways, where these lower profile pins of the Bandit will let you kind of slide a little bit, these things hook up. They also don't last terribly long. That's another memory I have from 80s and 90s RC. Anything with stud tires like this, so any buggies, they'd be worn down to nubs in no time, especially if you use it on the road. But even just on grassy, light gravel like this, they wear down pretty quick. It does mean they grip, it does mean they hook up. But again, if you buy this to play with it, get a set of the Rlaarlo tires just with the standard lugs on them. They'll hook up just fine on most surfaces. Or if you have some sand or really thin gravel or whatnot, or dust, paddle tires from Bezgar. I'll link both of those down below because they just happen to be the perfect size for this buggy. I'm really happy about that discovery because I've got plenty of them and this is actually fun. So what am I going to do to make this drive a bit better, because I actually do plan on driving it. I don't need it to stay how it is. It's not a vintage, which would be a shelf queen. I don't think I own any shelf queen RCs. These shocks I think will be replaced. I'll put something similar travel, similar length, but with better damping and just a better, I'll just put a better quality shock on the rear. I think that's going to actually deal with a lot of this. You can put different pistons in here, thicker oil. These are already leaking. I don't really like them. I'll replace those and maybe the tires, and really that's all it needs. It's a lovely lightweight buggy. So if you have an itch for a buggy, the Tamiya Hornet re-release might scratch it. It turns 20 next year. The re-release turns 20 next year, but I think it still represents pretty good value, and it's even cheaper than the original was in today's money. There's really a lot to like about this car. Yeah, it's basic, but it's fun. Thanks for watching, guys. Throw me a like and stay tuned, because we will take a look at the Super Hot Shot at some point in the not too distant future, and I also want to build the BBX, which, I think this looks pretty great. This was a 2021 release, and there's a lot more that's modern on this than on the other stuff. But that'll do for today. So thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time on RC-TNT. Cheers.